Napa Valley, California, famous for its vineyards, serene hills, and charming small-town energy, was the kind of place where doors were often left unlocked and neighbors exchanged smiles during evening walks. In 2004, it was considered one of the safest places to live in the United States. With a population of just 75,000 and no homicides reported in the 2 years leading up to that fateful Halloween, crime simply didn't fit the scenery. But sometimes evil doesn't care about zip codes. On the night of October 31, 2004, two young women, Adriane Insogna and Leslie Mazzara, were stabbed to death in their home on Dorset Street, a sleepy, quiet residential area in Napa. Their third roommate, Lauren Meanza, survived, and what she witnessed would haunt her forever. The three women had come to Napa to focus on their careers and start fresh. Adriane, born December 30, 1977, was a civil engineer with the Napa Sanitation District. She was athletic, community-focused, and had a quiet confidence about her. A former volleyball and softball player, she was active in the Girl Scouts and had survived a near-fatal car crash a decade earlier. That experience had changed her. She used to call it the day she was supposed to die, and even commemorated its anniversary. Her closest friend, Lily Prudhomme, said they would take the day off work to celebrate that Adriane had survived. Adriane had plans, quiet plans, a trip to visit her sister in Australia, more years of doing good, quietly and intentionally. She was also dating a man named Christian Lay, though their relationship had been strained in the weeks leading up to her death. Leslie, the newest roommate, was a firecracker by contrast. A bubbly, former beauty queen from South Carolina, she had grown up raised by a single mother who adored her. Leslie dreamed big. She said she wanted to be a mother, a teacher, a nurse, and Miss America, all before turning 21. She'd recently gone through a breakup and relocated to California for a fresh start. She was working in public relations and had just been offered a position as a greeter at a winery. Friends described her as charismatic and charming, known for dating multiple men and turning heads wherever she went. Just days before the murder, an argument had broken out between the roommates after Leslie brought a man home and had loud sex that disturbed the others. It was the first time any of them had brought someone over, and it led to a tense but productive conversation about boundaries. Halloween night seemed peaceful. The three women wore cozy sweatshirts and handed out carefully made treat bags to trick-or-treaters in the neighborhood. Neighbors remembered them smiling and laughing. By 11 p.m., all three were in bed. Leslie and Adriane were upstairs. Lauren, along with her golden retriever Chloe, was downstairs. Around 2 a.m., Lauren woke up. The home's sensor light had come on. Chloe growled. Lauren thought maybe Leslie had another late-night guest. She wasn't too alarmed at first. But then came the unmistakable sound of shattering glass, followed by a scream that would freeze her blood. "Please, God, help me!" Adriane's voice cut through the silence, terror-stricken. Lauren crept to the stairs, but heavy footsteps were coming down fast. She turned and bolted, fleeing out the back door into the night. She hid in the backyard, clutching Chloe, praying the killer wouldn't come for her. Eventually, she crept back inside. The house was eerily quiet. The cordless phone didn't work. Upstairs, she found a scene so horrifying it was nearly unspeakable. Leslie was unconscious in a pile of clothes, her body soaked in blood, with stab wounds covering her upper body. A pool of blood 2 inches deep surrounded her. Behind her, Adriane lay on a bed, bleeding profusely, barely breathing. Lauren, realizing they were beyond help, ran to her car and dialed 911. A patrol officer arrived quickly, but it was too late. Both women were dead. The community of Napa was shattered. Residents who never locked their doors suddenly installed security systems. Women who once jogged at dusk no longer left their homes after dark. This was the first double homicide Napa had seen since 1998. Police collected over 70 pieces of evidence, including blood believed to belong to the killer. A kitchen window had been forced open. Cigarette butts, Camel Turkish gold were found just outside the house. The killer, it seemed, had waited and watched before striking. DNA from the cigarette butts matched the blood left behind. This was no stranger randomly passing through town. This was personal. Police zeroed in on everyone. Adriane's boyfriend, Christian, was dragged out of bed and interrogated. He'd argued with Adriane the night of her murder. She wanted more commitment. He wasn't ready. She had even told him about another man. But his DNA didn't match the scene. Leslie's love life came under scrutiny next. She had been dating a man named Beau and another older man. Friends described the older man as jealous and intense. Leslie had also received a bouquet that enraged one of them. Still, none of them matched the DNA. Investigators went through Leslie's emails and found one from an old flame, Aaron Davis, a man from Alaska who had proposed to her years ago. He told reporters Leslie was the one who got away, but again, no match. Over 1,300 interviews, 218 DNA samples voluntarily given, nothing. 10 months later, investigators made a calculated move. They revealed the cigarette brand found at the scene to the public as Camel Turkish Gold. It worked. Lauren remembered someone who smoked those, Eric Koppel. He had attended the women's housewarming party. He was Lily's fiancé. Lily was Adriane's best friend. He had been in their house. He knew the layout. He was quiet, distant, an odd duck, according to a neighbor. Lauren contacted the police, but Eric had disappeared. His family convinced him to come forward. He did, arriving at the police station with Lily and his parents. In a 5-hour interrogation, he admitted everything. Eric said he didn't remember the details, that he had been drunk, that he had argued with Lily earlier that night and she'd driven him home, that he passed out, then woke up, grabbed zip ties and a knife, and drove to the Dorset Street house. He didn't know why. He smoked a cigarette outside. The sensor light came on. He pried open a window, climbed inside, lay down in a pile of clothing. Adriane found him. He jumped onto the bed, said he blacked out. He claimed he didn't even remember attacking Leslie, but the brutality told a different story. Adriane had defensive wounds. She had fought for her life. Leslie was attacked in her sleep. This wasn't a drunken mistake. This was rage. Eric burned his clothes, ditched the knife, and pretended as if nothing had happened. He attended their funerals, married Lily 3 months later, smiled in wedding photos with Adriane's grieving mother watching on. In court, he initially pleaded not guilty, but eventually he struck a deal. To spare the families a lengthy trial, he pleaded guilty to both murders. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. In exchange, he waived his rights to appeal and agreed never to speak to the media. If he violates the deal, he could face the death penalty and millions in wrongful death claims. At sentencing, he gave a haunting statement. "There was rage inside me. If I had only listened to those who pleaded with me to get the help I needed." Today, Eric Koppel remains incarcerated at Pleasant Valley State Prison. Lily, still married to him, lives in Napa. Adriane's mother, despite it all, maintains a relationship with Lily. Questions still remain. Why did he really do it? Was it jealousy over Lily's closeness with Adriane? Was it fear that Leslie would reveal something? Or was it simply unchecked rage boiling over in the worst possible way? We may never know. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life mysteries just like this. And as always, stay curious and stay safe.